And also I would like to thank FTMK lah, Fakulti Teknologi Maklumat dan Komunikasi UTM, for inviting me to share some of I would say information, experience with everyone, because I think this is important. We are not anymore working in silos, working in our own universities. I think we should be working together in trying to develop for micro credentials, not only for our own universities, but also for the all the higher learning institute in Malaysia. Just to add to Dr. Fairuz's introduction of me just now, um, I wouldn't say I'm the best person, but we've when I say we, I mean the Center of Academic Development for UPM, with the Jawatan Kuasa Inovasi Pengajian dan Pendidikan from UPM also, and then my experience with working with IEEE System Society. We have done something on micro-credentials, and then we have done some surveying, and then some research on how to actually try to make micro-credentials work, and then we have some experience, and this is what we want to share with the community also lah, share with UTM. And I think my outcome would be, by the end of this session, we would have something, a clearer vision, not only for me, but for UTM also, or for everyone, because I actually I'm trying to have like a two-way a conversation here, so that I can learn from UTM as well, because I think you've got a great vision right now, and then also we are trying to move along also, and we'll see what we are lacking, and we try to improve ourselves. Okay, so I think the best way to introduce this is I will take the definition from MQA on micro-credentials. Is basically, let me see if I can use my pen here. So you will find a lot of definitions on micro-credentials from Europe, for example, from India, from the US, Canada. But this is what we have here. It's pretty lengthy compared to the other definitions. So it's basically a digital certification of any knowledge, skills, or competencies, okay, in a specific area field, which can be component of accredited program or a standalone course. So it could be a component of accredited program or a standalone course, okay, supporting either professional, technical, academic, personal developments of the learners. So this is how it is written verbatim in the MQA guidelines in the latest so far. So with that, let's. This is how I'm going to arrange my session today. Basically, I will start with why, because I think once we understand why, I think the others will just follow through easily. Why micro-credentials? Why are we doing that? Why is it hyped right now? And then we'll move on to some technical details on what actually is micro-credentials as seen by MQA. And number three is where I think I would like to share a bit of my analysis working with Kate in UPM, and then a bit of my experience on how we should proceed with our effort in trying to make micro-credentials work in our universities. Okay, and I will also like to we have not a really big group today, which is I think perfect, because I really want to get some feedback, written feedback for you, so you can just let me know, and then I'll try to write it here, and then maybe we can save it in this presentation, and then I'll just give it to Dr. Fairuz so that it can disseminate these slides to everyone. So my first question, before we move to the actual content of the presentation today, you might have to use your mic here, and just let me know, let us know, let everyone know, why do universities, UTM for example, okay, why do you need micro-credentials? At this moment, why are you embarking on micro-credentials? Let's take some points here. Any takers? Is it to get on the hype right now, to jump on the bandwagon?
Okay, mungkin saya boleh mula.
Boleh.
Okay, Syarizan
Syarizan Saya tak tulis nama kot, saya tulis point je.
Okay. Because the way teaching and learning nowadays is switch from probably face-to-face towards online, more online. So if UTEM did not go into this direction, probably we are behind other institutions. Left behind.
So TNL, yeah, go on.
Micro-credential, from what we understand, is a bit different from MOOC, for example. Micro-credential can go for two. One is one with accredited one, meaning that go through the proper, we want to offer a program, but MOOC probably free, everybody can take that one, and this one probably can be on upscaling, something like that.
Okay, upskilling. So
okay, let someone else.
Okay. I have space to write many things here. I can make these 2 pages if you want. So why
Dok, saya tambah sikit, Dok.
Boleh.
Saya letak situ lah satu, lifelong learning.
Lifelong learning Lifelong learning. Okay. Lifelong learning. Okay. This is nice also. Okay. And then ada lagi apa-apa sekarang ni, we have teaching learning switching from tradition to online. So we don't want to be left behind by other institutions. So is there any more? Yeah.
Money generating, maybe.
Oh, money generating. Actually, I
like.
No, because I think you can see why money generating is an important point later on. Money generating. Yep, by the age. Okay. Okay, is there any more? Maybe I'll just give about 10 seconds if you need to add 1 or 2 more.
Saya tambah satu lagi lah.
Boleh. Tambah je, kejap. This is
tambah ni lah. So we are upskilling and reskilling lah semua tu kan. We just want to add things that we want only, not having to go through the whole system lah.
Okay. Upscaling, okay. And then for I would say yang tadi tu ni lah customized learning lah kan, maksudnya we don't want to take the whole program, for example. Okay, we might want to take just 1 or 2 subjects. Okay, so let us stop here. Judging by these points, I think most of you here, or at least the ones giving the answers, know pretty well about micro-credentials, and basically have some knowledge on this one. So we'll keep that notes for later on. And now let's see on the why universities need to go for micro-credentials. Okay, so if we're talking about the traditional program, I'm taking the engineering example, because engineering we all have a 4-year program, 4 to 5 years program, and then the program comes in a block. Let's say we have 135 credits here. Okay, so the students must complete all 135 in a given year. So probably they can extend up to 6 years, or maybe in some institutions 7 years. But the basic idea is they need to complete all 135 credits all the maybe, I don't know, 40 subjects, courses to complete the 4-year program. Okay. Well, the idea of alternative credentials is instead of making this whole, and let's call this degree, a degree or maybe a diploma, but I'll stick with degree. Okay. But instead of putting the whole in one block, universities are trying, not universities really, I would say higher learning institute, we're trying to chunk this big block here into smaller chunks, I would say, smaller courses. So perhaps in engineering, for example, you've got the basics here. Okay, so this is basic engineering. Okay. And then you'll have some other courses, probably this is for specialized engineering. Okay. Okay, and then maybe you'll have some other subjects, probably this is some programming skills, perhaps. Okay, and then this is probably some communications or writing skills. Okay, the idea is, let's say we can break into this, break this big block into these smaller blocks. What can we do with it? Some ideas are like this. Maybe we can offer this is as one complete degree, 4 years. Okay. And then we'll add on more on, say, for example, this is business, for example. Yeah. And add some 2 languages, say, for example, this is Python, and then this is probably, I don't know, maybe R. So you add skills on top of the existing 4-year program. But the question is, how do you actually validate or give credentials to a student trying to learn this separated class, for example? Okay, let's say they have completed this degree and then they want to add some more skills here. So here, this is already accredited. This is nice by, for example, in engineering by BEM, by EAC. Okay, but what if they want to upskill, the student wants to upskill with a certain kind of program for courses, for example, like from aerospace engineering example, my department is airworthiness or aviation in business and marketing, for example. How do I add this? One option is I can go to the other college and just take this subject and then pay them 3,000, 5,000 ringgit. The other way is for universities to actually, the universities like to offer on top of this degree block here, these smaller courses, these 2. But then the question is, here we have accredited degree, then what do you call this? What kind of credentials do you call this? Okay. What kind of credentials do you call this? Do you call this what, digital badges? Or do you call this what, micro degree? Nano degrees, for example? Okay. So we know we can do this, the chunk, breaking our program into chunks and add on top to existing program, for example. But how do we validate or confer the degree or nano degrees to the students? So that's alternative credentials. And then I mentioned just now digital badges, digital credential, like what MQA is defining micro-credentials, and what is actually micro-credential. Okay. Now, what we should know about micro-credentials is usually it's only for skills and competency. So if we are talking about micro-credentials, we should look at competency-based education. Okay. You can think of what kind of competencies, for example, writing, communication, or maybe a certain type of technology, programming language, for example. But usually it's for certain skills or competencies that are required by industry, for example, or communities. Okay. And then these are micro-credentials. We are talking about courses, talking about degrees, nano degrees, certificates here, micro-credentials. Digital credentials is when we're talking about online diplomas, online degrees, online certificates. How are we going to give a certificate or confer a degree to someone digitally? Right now, it's just what we have. We have a paper certificate, paper credential, and then maybe an electronic version of it, PDF, for example. And then probably on that PDF, you have some kind of security, I don't know, special stamp or whatever, but that's about it. And people are talking about blockchain right now, about how to actually make a digital credentialing safe, secure, and transferable, and you won't have any fake degrees anymore. So people are talking about blockchain here, but that's for another topic. Digital badge is part of digital credential. Digital badge can be anything, can be as small as achieving a learning outcome. Let's say we have a class, and then one of the learning outcome is this, and then let's say the student completed one learning outcome, he or she can be given a digital badge. So it's not really, the size can vary. It can be digital badges in competency, teamwork, for example, called completed a learning outcome. So the scope is very large. But this is what we talk about when we talk about digital credential as well. Excuse me. And then I think digital badge is usually widely used for, I think, for Google and IBM as well, because if you get that badge, then that means you are competent in something. You're competent in Microsoft Azure, for example. You have a digital badge. So that's I just want to show this just to make sure we understand the difference between all this. Now, in MQA, they mentioned about something stackable credential. Okay, so sequence of credentials that can be accumulated over time that builds into higher level credential. What do we have right now? What we have right now is what we call the vertical. Example, yeah, vertical is, okay, this is this block here, this row. Let's say this is a bachelor degree. And then we have, let's say this text block, we have a master's degree, and then top probably PhD. All right. So this is an example of vertically stackable credential. You need to have your bachelor degree first before you go masters, and some programs have, you need to have masters first to have a PhD. Now this is the traditional way. You stack it like that. Now, when we talk about horizontal value, it's about this. Let me use a different color here. Stackable, horizontal, when we do it like this, say, for example, you completed your bachelor degree here. Okay. And then you add another postgraduate diploma, for example, that is not related to bachelor degree. That means you can add on to this. Usually, it does not need this degree to get that, so it can stand on its own, and probably some certificates. So, for example, like engineers, aerospace engineers, for example, they sometimes, if they want to work on an aircraft, specific type of aircraft, they need to have a different kind of license. So I would say that is horizontal. They are not dependent on each other like the vertical, but in whole, if you get the whole block, then you're a complete graduate, I would say. And then there's another thing we call added value. Added value is what I mentioned just now. Added value is when you have a completed degree, for example, yeah. So let's say this whole block here is your degree. Let's say you have an aerospace degree, Bachelor of Science in Aerospace. I keep making aerospace because that's my department, more familiar with the structure. And then you just want to add, okay, I need to know how to do programming in, say, for example, I need to do R, okay? Or I need to have an advanced research method, for example, just in case I need to go for PhD. And then let's say I need some more courses on corporate communication, for example. Okay, so these are adding values into your first degree. And actually, for 2021-2025 Bachelor of Aerospace Engineering program in UPM, we are trying to do something like this. We are trying to offer micro-credentials, micro-courses, so that our graduates, they don't just graduate with the degree aerospace engineering which is accredited already by EAC or BEM, but they have some more added value to it, maybe a certificate in certain type of programming, for example, or machine learning, data analytics skills, for example. So we want to add that into the program. And we're thinking of offering these programs in between semesters during a semester break, or maybe spend 1 or 2 years after graduation to actually get these values. So that's stackable. Now, it's good to see micro-credentials in the whole picture. So if you need to explain to someone in like 1 minute what is micro-credential, we can look at what, where, by, with, as. Okay, so what is it? Is just a way of validating new knowledge and skills, or validating prior knowledge and skills. Okay, you've learned already something and then you want recognition. So right now, traditionally universities are the ones who validate knowledge and skills. They are the one who confer degrees and stuff like that. Now, someone was mentioned online just now. For micro-credential course, it can be online, on-site, or both. Now, by who? Right now, many parties are offering micro-credentials. Universities, of course, we should be doing this, but other stuff like private providers, like I'm talking about EDX, I'm talking about Coursera, okay, talking about Udemy, okay, they are doing this. And also, if you know, certain companies, they also provide their own course training. Like, for example, I'm working with AirAsia right now. They have like a digital technology, I think in a new wing or new department there, and they are doing some micro-credential courses, and then they're trying to train their workers in airworthiness. So they are also providing micro-credential course. Okay, so how do we give micro-credentials? Paper certificate. This is traditional. This is what we're going for, digital certificate, and then we talk about blockchain and stuff like that. And then also digital badge. How do we do this in Moodle, for example? How do we do this in Blackboard, LMS, for example? Okay, so micro-credentials can be as a standalone. I will explain more on this later. Standalone, so just one micro-credential course, independent of others, or you can do it like before the students doing degree, okay, or during their degree. Okay, maybe semester break, or after postgraduate. Okay, last mile services to secure employment. Okay, we've tried this one with some of our engineering math course. We are trying this one also, and then this is, I think, where most of the money come from. Last mile services to secure employment. Okay, so we can think of it that way. Now, let's talk about stakeholders who really care about micro-credentials. Of course, industries, communities, let's say industries, okay? They have workers. Sometimes fresh graduates, they don't have the skills that are needed in that specific industry. And then at the same time, universities also are not equipped to just teach every skills out there. No, it's just impossible. Sometimes students go to this sector, sometimes go to that sector. So it's impossible for us to actually teach every competencies out there. What we are doing is we give a degree accredited by certain bodies, for example, and then we stick with what is needed to the world standard of how to complete an engineering degree, for example, and then we try to add more stuff into it. But as you know, industries are moving faster also, and when we do our curriculum, for example, okay, we usually do our curriculum every 5 years, okay, and the industry is changing faster than 5 years. So how do we try to try to close this gap? So by perhaps micro-credentials courses, okay, that's one. And then we have communities as well. There's one good example in UPM where that I know of. They're trying to give a small course for young mothers on how to breastfeed. So usually it's aimed for rural areas, for example, and also not for urban areas also. So just a short course on how to breastfeed if they are worried about anything, so they can just follow the course. So that's an example of a micro course that is trying to serve the communities. And of course, we have learners where we have pre-bachelor, I would say, and post-bachelor. Okay, so these are the target that we need to look at: post-bachelor, pre-bachelor, or working individuals. So these are the stakeholders. So now, we can have something like this also. We can have our traditional learners, higher learning in student industries, and then industries also are trying to do the micro course where they have their learners here. Okay, and they have their own providers of teaching. They have their own lecturers in that industry, and they are providing also micro course here. The way we can help industries in doing this is maybe we can help in terms of providing here. So this is one way how HLI can help industries in meeting their requirements of training their workers and stuff like that. Okay, so this is a potential way to work with industries. Okay, we are. I am trying right now. I'm trying to work with AirAsia, like I mentioned just now, on trying to teach them how to actually conduct classes through online, through using Moodle, stuff like that. How to do assessments, how to actually, all the basic stuff, like H5P, if you have heard of that, and do quizzes. So this is one way to help industries on doing this, and then we can get some of our shares also. All right. So what's out there today? Who's our competitor? So I've listed here. I think the most popular ones are these two: Coursera, edX, Udacity. Okay, and if you've seen their courses, they're pretty much advanced, really advanced right now. They're providing professional certificates from IBM and Microsoft, and also similar to edX, they're giving the X series. It's a program from Harvard, giving degrees online just by going to edX. MicroMasters, professional certificates also. So I think edX is working more with the universities, and Coursera is more with the current technology like machine learning, neural network, big data analytics, something like that. And Udacity also have worked with Lyft, if it's on self-driving cars. So they are pretty advanced right now. They are working with company to actually provide nano degree on how to be a self-driving cars engineer. That's pretty scary actually, because we are just jumping the bandwagon right now, but they are moving so fast forward. Okay, so university is facing competitions. Several things that we need to think about. Okay, one is when we talk about micro learning, we need to talk about competency-based education. I'm not saying we have to move from outcome-based education. No, it's not like that. It's like if you are thinking about making a course, make sure that course is competency-based. The aim is to give some kind of competencies to the learners. Okay, and then another thing, although we are actually already 1.5 years on online education, but are we universities doing really well? Are we doing really well? Are we doing comfortably? Sometimes we haven't even solved the cheating issues in exams. How do we give alternative assessment to students, for example? What's the best practice of delivering course online, lectures online? So are we doing really well? So we need to actually do this really good, because if you've seen Coursera and edX, for example, they have a pretty good standard. excuse me, on how to deliver online courses. So we will touch on that later on. So is the current model sustainable? Our current model with MOOC, for example, our plan with MOOC, our plan with short courses, is what we are doing right now can be sustainably done in the next 5-10 years? Can we get more students? What if we get 10,000 students doing our homework? Are we ready for that? Okay, and then we need to use technology. Technology is in terms of data collecting, learners' data, blockchain is in security of digital credentialing, and also AI, for example, for assessments, stuff like that. So we need to embark on this one. And then right now, Coursera, IDX, Microsoft, they are offering certification programs as well, nano degrees, micro masters. So would it be possible that in the future, 5 years time, people won't go to universities anymore? They just take these courses and then they can just apply jobs. Maybe the workplace nowadays, they don't even need an accredited program by, I don't know, I'm just pointing out the possibilities. Maybe students in the future will just go to this route rather than universities. And then that when we think about this, and then we should think about universities have to have a new mission. You have to get into the micro-credentials because we are losing out. They have a better online TNL, teaching and learning methods out there. Their model are sustainable. They are creating more money right now. They know how to use data and technology, the blockchain technology, for example, data, AI, some of them, how to actually assess your computer programming, students' computer programming codes, for example. They can do that, and then also reaching out communities. Right now is the best time. Not everyone can enroll in universities, but it's time for us to reach them. So my university has to have a new mission. So, okay, I'm just suggesting here. I'm not in the position to go to our night chancellor and then tell him or her this thing. But seeing the things right now, if I can utarakan pendapat, give a suggestion, I would show this. We are facing competitions. Okay, but what advantage do universities have? Are we actually losing out? No. Okay, so training providers like just now, they can be taught endorsement industry. So that's a plus point. Plus, nice. They are work relevant because they know what they want to get, and then they just teach exactly what they want to get. Okay, but the problem is they're not accredited, they're not standardized, and usually really expensive. I just saw a MATLAB course. It's for 1 week, I guess, 1 or 2 weeks, but that goes for like 3,000 to 5,000 ringgit. I think I better just learn it alone, but on my own, because it's just too expensive. But what advantage we can use as a university to actually, catch up with them at least, or beat them altogether in this game? So what do we have right now? We are very familiar with accreditation. Yeah. What we need to go for is we need to have some kind of standardized micro-credential course. Like, what's the standard right now? What's the best practice? And this is important. This is it needs to be transferable. A person taking a micro-credential course in UTM, for example, they can use that course, transfer credit, for example, to other universities. It needs to be transferable, because if you're not transferable, then we're gonna lose some of its value, some of the micro-credentials values. So we need to actually think about this, how to make these digital badges, for example, or nano degrees or pre-use certificates transferable from university to universities. We cannot think of on our own anymore, because if we just UPM, just think about UPM, other universities just think about other universities. We're trying to develop our own, we're trying to champion this. It's not going to work. We're going to lose out. So that's why I really thank you, Dr. Fairuz, for trying to make this so that we can actually think about how we can do inter-universities untransferable program like that. Stackable, I've covered that before. Pathway into other qualifications. We need to have this to be able to compete with the current training providers, because this is what we have or what we could have. Okay, so let's stop here and then let's think of new reasons so far. Why do we need micro-credentials? Let's start, because we've seen a lot of things here. Let me just go back. Our advantages, our competitions, our threats. Okay, in the market today, what they are offering out there right now that we are not doing. How we can serve learners, workplace, communities better with micro-credentials framework. Okay, and this is just how to actually explain what the micro-credentials and all its components. Stackability. Okay, about digital credentialing, digital badge, and the difference and the relations between those and micro-credentials. Okay, alternative credentials. So let's look back at the pre right now. TNL student from traditional online, left behind by other HRIs, different from MOOC. To go for a lifelong learning, we need to generate money. I'll show you the money they are making afterwards. It's ridiculous. Upskilling and reskilling, customized learning. So this is what we. So can we add some more based on just these few slides? Why do universities need micro-credentials? Do you have any new opinion on this one?
Okay, Doc.
Yep. Ada idea ke?
Stay relevant.
Stay relevant kan?
and still have a job in 10 years time.
You're talking about us lah, lecturer lah.
Yalah.
So that we job security lah for. Actually, this is a good one. Security for current academician. Okay. Okay. Talking about universities lah. Anything else? Any new idea came up?
Yeah. Actually, kalau fikir in terms of money generating for university, but for the user, for the students itself, kalau boleh ambil stackable ni few subject and make it into one program, actually they can save money. In long, compare tu katakan 4,000 setahun bayar, ambil 4 tahun 16,000. Kalau ni stackable, kita ambil 300 satu subjek and then we compile and make it one whole complete program. Probably they can save money and they can learn anytime, anywhere they want to add to the course.
That is actually a brilliant point. I've never seen it that way. Saya tak pernah nampak daripada sudut itulah. Way to save money for students if stackable. Betul juga sebab they can spread out, and while they're spreading out, they can actually search for jobs because they got some part of the degree already, micro-credentials kan. And then they can plan out lah their way to complete that. So instead of belajar 8 tahun tapi tak dapat lagi satu degree tu, instead dia boleh spread out tu 8 tahun tapi dia dapat sikit-sikit, maybe 20% of the degree, 40% of the degree and so on. I think this is a really it's a brilliant point. Okay. Any other points that you need? It doesn't need to answer these questions. Why do universities need micro-credentials? But if you have any point, let's write it down here so that maybe we can look at it again and then think about it.
Saya tengok on the few point of view of promoting the university itself. Maybe a person ni dia attend one ataupun dia try lah one of the credential ni, and then more likely dia tu okay, this is maybe the best university to learn ke apa ke. Maybe dekat sini pun kita boleh tunjukkan we have this kind of expert, or we have this kind of university, what the highlight of this university.
Universities expertise contohnya. And then advantage, or and then also I would say visibility lah kan, maksudnya kita there's simple way of showcasing universiti lah kan, kita tunjuk universiti tanpa perlu student tu enroll 4 tahun and then baru keluar, tapi bagi kira macam instead of bagi satu movie, kita bagi dia trailer lah kira ni Microcredentials. I think that's one good way. Okay. Nanti kumpul lagi beberapa point kalau ada pendapat, maybe we can look at this again.
Mungkin Dok, boleh universiti boleh offer flexibility lah in terms of offering courses lah. Kalau macam is a program yang spesifik kan, DC kan kena lalu MQA semua bla bla bla. So if we can offer programs yang untuk learners out there tu, dia lebih fleksibel lah kan.
Betul lah, sebab saya tu pernah propose satu program yang dipanggil, it's a transdisciplinary program lah. Sebenarnya tiru idea Purdue University. Purdue University dia buat transdisciplinary program yang ada engineering, tapi you couple that with for example design or macam healthcare for example, so that dia ada both of this tau. So it goes beyond the technical punya disciplinary, but goes more into design, arts contohnya, ataupun medical ke apa. So the Purdue satu ni, so I was proposing this idea transdisciplinary where you take, but itulah the biggest block kan dia, itulah kita tak boleh tukar kurikulum, kena tengok ni, kena ikut panduan yang ni, so tak ada flexibility situ. Saya rasa betul juga tu, kurikulum memang susah sikit kita nak ubah, especially engineering lah. Kalau saya tak tahu yang untuk yang lain, tapi engineering memang ketat lah. Kalau tengok manual EAC tu, semua benda yang dia nak tu susah gila lah nak menguat kan, nak menguat banyak tu payah juga. Tapi that's the reality, but I think with micro-credentials we can somehow, this can be a way to tengok belilah macam mana kita nak work creatively around this. That's okay lah. So boleh saya letakkan flexibility of curriculum program. Mana pen saya ni? Okay, ni dia. I would say it offers I would say offers flexibility. Okay. All right, shall we move on? So, or do you have any other points that you want to make? These are new ones. I seldom see this being discussed in the literature out there about micro-credentials. They're all talking about generate money and stuff like that, but this is a good one. All right, so say thank you for this one. So let's so this one is a bit dry, this section. I'm just going to summarize a bit what's out there. So if you need to go to the offshoot document, there's a link down here. So MQA has published the guidelines for good practices for micro-credentials. Okay, so I'm just going to summarize a bit here without going through the detail and everything, what's important to know. So basically the definition. And then it says that it underscores several key elements. So digital certification, knowledge, skills, competency again, in any specific area, field, accredited program, standalone course, so professional. Okay, so that's what's under the definition. So justification, what MQA is giving us is they listed down 5. Lifelong learning, like someone mentioned, reskill, upskill. Actually, that hits the head, they hits the nail right on the head lah. Memang kena betul lah. And then satu lagi alternative, because the literature have shown that sometimes the traditional degree or traditional credentialing sometimes too expensive, takes too long, it's not competency based, it's not industry focused, and sometimes just in case curriculum. Maksudnya just in case ni kita letak je subjek, or just in case nanti 5 years dia orang akan guna. Macam tu. Kita tak tahu pun. Contohnya kita ajar, dulu kami pernah ajar Fortran language. The reason is Fortran is being used in aerospace banyak jugalah, for computational fluid dynamics, for astronomical calculations, for example. Fortran is a very powerful tool. Tapi kita still ajar tu, and then kita, oh, just in case dia orang akan guna. Padahal Fortran, is not really being used out there. So we changed that to the current, I think the most widely used one thing is Python lah. So we move from Fortran to Python. So those are one example. That is one example of just in case curricula. Kita ajar satu subjek, just in case lah dia orang guna. Padahal kita pun tak tahu sure. Okay. And then we want to access stackability. So nanti diulang banyak kali, stackability and then recognition for non-formal learning lah. Maksudnya ada satu contoh, kalau diberi Profesor Abdul Karim alias from USM. He's a big proponent of micro-credential. He's given a lot of talks around Malaysia about this. I went to one of his first micro-credentials talk in UPM 2 years ago, I think. And then they show one example of how this, I think, Nikot, if I'm not mistaken, dia Olympic sportswoman. Dia belajar skills untuk, I forgot, it's one of the ni lah, olahraga punya tu, saya bali lembing ke apa, lontar peluru ke, tak ingat. Tapi dia kata dia learn all that skills just by herself, using YouTube, using forums, finding coach here, there, little coach here and there, and then she became an Olympic medalist. So she is learning non-formally, tak masuk university, tak masuk program negara ke apa ke, but all non-formal. So and programmers also, kebanyakan programmers nowadays, bukan kebanyakan, I would say a significant amount of programmers, they are self-learn as well. So if you self-learn on how to use Python, for example, how do you get credited for, how do you get someone to say that you are an expert in Python? How? Can you just proclaim yourself or self-proclaim? I'm good at Python. Oh, says who? So that who is supposed to be universities. So we are in the position to give a recognition for non-formal learning. Maksudnya dia dah belajar secara sendiri, tak formal, and then dia kata, I want to get some kind of credential. I want someone to say that I'm good at this. Can you, university, show me to this? And then we can say, okay, yes, you need to take this assessment. If you pass, then we're going to give you some kind of credential. Okay, principle of good practice dalam tu dia tak tulis banyak lah. Outcome based, it should be outcome based, it should be personalized, should be the courses should be an on-demand courses, industry driven. The credentialing should be secure and shareable. If it's just PDF, semua orang boleh buat PDF. Kan, bagi kat semua orang. If it's just copy, a physical copy, then sekarang pun banyak dia fake degrees kan. Banyak case tahun lepas, politician yang ada fake degrees daripada fake universities, for example, ataupun yang mengaku tapi dapat jawatan besar-besar kan. So this is one way to actually banteras benda macam ni, secure and shareable credential. And then finally, transparencies. Maksudnya kita tak boleh lah mengajar cincai-cincai kita bagi credentials just because we want to say that we are good at micro-credentialing. Transparencies is important. And then dalam dokumen ni juga dia ada tulislah what the type, the nature of micro-credentials, macam mana kalau we work with single HEP atau multiple HEPs atau HEP dengan ada providers, higher education providers ya. So tengok macam mana. So I wouldn't go into this too much, but this is just a summary of what I think is important I could get out of the MQA document here. I will show you some later. I think I have a link here somewhere. If you need to go deeper into MQA, the technicalities of that, you can go here. Okay. There was a presentation before this, and saya sempat pergilah, so saya sempat dapatkan beberapa information. So apa yang what I've shown before is just guidelines to good practices, micro-credentials. This document PDF, I don't think it's more than 50 pages long. But what's important here is this. The MQA, they provided some notification forms for micro-credentials. What do you need to do? So applicable to micro-credentials offered from component A. Okay, submission will be based on component only, and then the form are all here. So if you have any direct inquiries to MQA, I've gotten the information here and I've gotten the forms here. Okay, maybe I will share these slides with Dr. Fairuz so that Dr. can share with everyone lah. Okay, and then according to MQA also, as of March 12th, 2021, the number of courses that are offering micro-credentials right now is 1,808 courses. Banyak dah, in many levels. Mostly diploma, L4, mostly diploma. Okay, itu yang paling popular sekarang lah. I'm not too sure about this PhD level here, doctoral level. So I need to actually see what's going on here. But as you can see right now, it's getting traction. Micro-credentials, everyone is jumping on the bandwagon, and then mostly they're trying to offer a diploma. I was actually surprised. I was thinking of maybe more of certificates, because that's more saya rasa lagi berguna lah, more competency based. But well, data is data. Okay. Yeah, okay. Kalau di sini nampak slides untuk masa presentation ni by MQA, ada saya letakkan di sini. Well, link tadi bagi saya share dengan everyone lah. And then the YouTube link, if you need to go to through the YouTube link, 3 hours ada di sini juga lah. So I think kebanyakan kita balik pasal what is micro-credentials, apa semualah, but from MQA perspective. And then Professor Abdul Karim Alias also ada di situ, dia pun is a big proponent, dia ada ideas dia show some ideas lah, very nice. Okay, so now let's tackle the question, how are we going to offer or start micro-credentialing program? One way of trying to do this is by looking what others are doing. Okay, because kita akan fikir nak offer apa ya, apa course, offer course apa yang saya ajar lah. Okay, macam awal-awal dulu saya ada mengajar satu kelas ni engineering mathematics, and we got like 800 students. So I thought this is perfect for my MOOC course. But it didn't go as I expected it to go well, as in it gets more people coming in and everything, because it turns out that it's really hard to actually learn math online without too many content stuff like that. So we look at out there, what's out there in 2020. 40% of the micro-credential program that offered out there is technology. And most of this technology are related to information technology, with working with data, working with computers, working with AI, working with network technologies like that. Technology. You need to, because I think reskilling, upskilling involves more around technology. The next one is business. I think business is maybe because something like leadership course, management course, something like that. So business take the second ni lah, tempat kedua lah. The rest are all lebih kurang sama lah. Okay. I was quite surprised juga. Actually, subject macam engineering kan, walaupun teknologi, tapi it's actually pretty low. And education teaching, walaupun banyak guru-guru contohnya ataupun kita macam lecturer pun, we need to step up our teaching in this new era. I was expecting this to be larger, but this is the reality right now. So if you're thinking about offering a micro-credential course, technology will get more uptake. Business, maybe. And then if you're thinking about this, it needs to be really good. If you're thinking about art and design, it needs to be a really good program. So to ensure some people taking our course. Okay, but like I said, although this is what's out there, this is only serving the industries. Okay, this is what serving industries. We are not talking about how to serve the community, for example. Yeah, macam contoh tadi yang menyusu bayi tu, I think it's good. I'll show you one example why I think serving communities will get influence as well. Okay, so 2019. Note the time here, 2019. These are the top MOOC course yang dapat credentialing. So maksudnya kalau course yang paling popular lah, semua orang akan ambil course ni, bayar untuk dapatkan some kind of credentials. Let's look at this. Highlight sikit. First course, machine learning. Kalau kat EDX, computer science. Let's look at this. Programming again. AI. Neural networks, deep learning, algorithms, TensorFlow, data science. Okay. And then the computer science programming, Python, again, Python is really popular. Even Excel, don't underestimate Excel. Excuse me, don't underestimate Excel. R, again, Power BI, Python again, and Linux. So apa yang saya highlight ni is, I think I would put them in one category. Okay, these are the popular courses. So if you're thinking about a course that will be popular, which is a really important aspect, think about offering this type of courses. Okay, and then the others, another one is related to standardized testing. IELTS, if I think you're familiar with this. IELTS is a standardized test for university admission, for example. TOEFL is another one. Okay. So that's, I think English, English I think is, I wouldn't put it in the category, but if you can think of a course that can help people to take standardized test, contoh apa kalau English kita, apa nama yang masuk tu, saya tak ingat lah, yang dapat band 5, band 4 tu, untuk universiti baru masuk. Muat kot, muat. So that can be an option also. Okay, or bahasa Melayu for career development, which can be good if you can get international. So I just want to ask you, do you see any pattern here? I'll just show you in pictures here. Okay, next one. Okay, look at this. This is why I'm talking about community 2020. Look at the top courses in 2020. COVID, contact tracing, COVID, okay. Again, COVID in in Spanish. Is it Spanish or is it Pontificans Jabrina, or maybe Portuguese? And then can I find something here? Yeah, COVID, what you need to know. Okay, fighting COVID with epidemiology, teach out, science matters. So this is the new trend. Well, I would say it's a trend. It's what's happening last year. More courses are trying to contribute to the community at large. Because we're not just talking about industries, we're not just talking about universities here. Now, for example, contact tracing. I think this is for everyone, community. Okay, COVID-19, what do you need to know? This one, this is for community. So in 2020, we see a huge spike on courses that try to serve community, which is something that we should think about also lah. But consistent as they are, you still have these AI with Python. You gonna have AI for everyone, data science, basics computing, programming, and then introduction. This is really interesting. Excel. Okay, so those type of courses just now are still popular. Oh, I forgot to, even this one. Okay, merah. Okay, and then we saw this example before, English, and then the other stuff, how to learn online, English, leadership is a business course. Okay, so if you see pattern here, we should look at these yellow ones, and maybe the green ones before, or maybe if you want to look at the good community problem that we can solve, look at the blue ones, COVID. Tapi COVID mungkin tahun ni dah lain lah kot, kan? Maybe we need to a course on vaccine for public, for example, vaccination, fighting the disinformation and misinformation on vaccination, for example. That could be a good course. But this is the trend last year. Okay. So again, I'm just showing you trends so that we can position ourselves. What are we looking at? Okay. So analysis of 450 MOOC-based micro-credentials. They are looking at this. Average months to complete, for example, kalau specialization, average months to complete 5, bukan macam satu semester jugalah. Tapi, the biggest difference is this one. Average minimum effort per week is 3 hours. We cannot do like what we are doing with our course. Sekarang our course, satu semester, for 4 months, lebih kurang. Tapi effort per week berapa? 120 bagi 14. Lebih kurang 8 jam, 7 jam, 6 jam, lebih kurang macam tu. This too much for an online course. Face-to-face tak apa. I think I couldn't find just now, but there's a calculation on what's the equivalent effort. Like if you're learning online and you're learning offline, there's some conversion. Like maybe I think 1 hour online is equivalent to 3 hours offline, something like that. I tried to find that just to make sure I have that, but I couldn't find it. It's okay, maybe next time. And then you can see the maximum, maybe if you're talking about micro degrees, if talking about micro masters, nano degrees, the minimum months to complete is about this. Okay, it's just like a degree lah. Okay, but the effort per week can be as low as 1 hour. Okay, but you may say, ni lebih kurang je. Macam apa yang kita ada dalam kursus ini sekarang. Tapi the biggest thing that one different thing is, one is minimum effort per week. Another one is we are offering flexibility for students. Right now, I myself, I'm taking a course in Coursera. Saya start December, tapi macam sibuk kan. Semester baru start, semua start sempat. So saya terpaksa turn off sekejap, berapa bulan, and then sambung balik. And then they allow me to get that. Even if I can complete that, even with like 4 weeks break, I can still complete the degree. So flexibility is more important. Okay, and then this is an example of nano degree specialization for professional certificate. Okay, so per week berapa banyak? Okay. So this is what when we design our course, we need to look at this. Per week, berapa banyak student have to spend their weeks. Okay, and then what's important here, also look at the how many weeks they need to do. Okay, I think this is 9 to 6, not 9, 96 maybe, or final project. Oh yeah, this is for professional certificate, nano degree, 3 months saja. Okay, and then the next thing I just want to show you here is the price. Okay, it's a lot of money, and there are many people taking it as well. So we need to look at this to figure out how can we, design our instructions, our content, and everything so that it can fit this. You can have lower number of weeks. Minimum effort per week is low also, and then what price compared to the global standard, and then can we offer the flexibility? Okay, now that's the example of how long how big your course will be. We're talking about micro, but micro, how small, how big? It could be from just 3 months or 1 month even to just now it was like 56 months. Okay, sorry, 56 week, 1 year to get a degree, the micro degree. So alternative credentials just now, micro-credentials lah. Nano degree, micro masters, badge. What kind of model we can use? One, it can exist as a it can exist as an independent. Maksudnya satu course tu on its own lah. We want to have a course which can be taken by anyone, anytime. You don't need anything with it, so you can go solo on its own. Offer. Siapa-siapa boleh ambil, tak ada kena-mena. Okay. Another one is, we call this embedded model. Embedded model is when you are offering, I'll give you an example. You're offering a degree. Okay. Engineering degree, for example. And then in that engineering degree, you want to put in what we call a course that can be taken independently, macam saya kata tadi lah, a program where maybe they can take between semesters, which will complete their degree or add more value to the degree. So it could be embedded or it could add more value. So this is, I think, what we're trying to do, at least for this new curriculum in engineering EPM. We're trying to see our options now. Okay, that's one. Another one is this. Another one is an example given here is for refugees. Yeah, for example, refugees, they are in a refugee camp or whatever, but they are still learning. They're learning English, for example. When they're learning English, they completed the education, English, probably they are fluent. They need some kind of credentialing. Okay, so they can take this micro-credential, they can get this credential, so that in case they want to enroll in universities, they can use this to as a prerequisite for the existing program at the university. Okay. So think of this like ni lah, prerequisite lah. Maksudnya you take that subjects earlier and then hoping that contohnya katalah macam satu kursus engineering mathematics 1, early engineering mathematics. So they take this course and then they pass. They get some kind of credentialing from other universities. And then when they come to UTM, they say, I want to transfer. I have taken this course. I want to transfer the credit because I've taken this course. So if both universities recognize this credentialing system and everything, the students can have, can just not take the subjects again lah. Okay, but I think that one agak susah sikit. An example given for this is for refugees just now lah. Recognition of prior learning model. Kita dah belajar tapi macam siapa nak, bagi kredit ni, siapa nak validate out my knowledge. Siapa nak bagi ijazah kat saya ni? Okay, itulah satu. Satu lagi yang mungkin ramai orang fikir tapi saya rasa kompleks pengurusan dia ialah you take many courses, micro courses, and then you combine them all to get one degree. Okay, this is people say it's the future lah, but I think for right now boleh buat tapi saya susah juga kot macam mana. Siapa dah tentukan which credential goes to which. You can't just take random micro degrees and then put them, say it's one degree. Although in the US, for example, they have what they call general studies, which can be done using like this. I think that's possible for that one. But for engineering courses, for example, mandate ke tak boleh lah macam ni. Okay. So provision process, macam mana kita nak provide micro-credentials ni? Ada macam-macam cara. Satu ialah provider, university buat semua. Dia develop content, material, develop course, develop support, learning, semua award credentials, okay, semua dia buat online. Biasanya yang buat itu ialah Harvard X. Tadi kita tengok kan. So satu lagi ialah cara ialah with a learning platform. I think this is most possible for us lah. Learning platform probably macam MOOC Moodle, not MOOC, so Moodle or Blackboard, Canvas ke. So they can provide as a learning platform for us to deliver courses and then collect learners' feedback, data and everything. So that's one option. Another one is EduTech company. So we work with an educational technology company to help with us in creating material, deliver course. I think you're probably familiar with open learning as well. So open learning, I would say that's a learning platform, or maybe a educational technology also. So open learning has initially a few years ago started working with universities on trying to produce their MOOC examples. So that's one example of how we can offer micro-learning. Okay. There are some existing guidelines out there, none from UPM yet, but there are some existing ones. USM, they've already, I think, like I said, Prof. Karim Alias is very big proponent of micro-credentials. They have provided many tutorials on and talks about this. And also have some kind of, they produce guidelines, especially for So you can read these documents just to see what they're thinking about micro-credentials, and probably we can take a bit of pointers from their perspective as well. It's okay to learn from other universities. You don't have to, we learn from each other. That's education 5.0 right now. And let me go, because before I go to this one, let me go to this one first. I want to show you this, the program I'm making with, I'm doing with a team of mine. I'm not the leader, by the way, but being a part of developing the pedagogy, the how to susun class. So this is a website. If we can go here, let me see if I can. So basically, the idea is, can you still see my screen? I'm opening Internet Explorer right now. Tak nampak Tak nampak ke screen? Tak nampak Saya share. Saya share. This is share screen right now. Okay. So this is the okay. This is the one that we've been developing. Basically, we try to take all the 2 hours long lectures on specific subjects, IEEE talk from prominent lecturers around the world, and then try to make a course out of that. So right now, what we have come up with, 3 types of courses. One is a personalized learning, or we call it distinguished lecture series on AI and machine learning. Okay, so we take lectures around the world, and then we try to chunk it into a course, and then we have these different courses here. So another one is making an impact. This is hearing success stories from IEEE, the fellows. And then another one, what we really like as well, is 2-minute papers. So we just take a paper, try to dissect it, try to explain it in 2 minutes, and learn about that paper in just 2 minutes. So it's fast, it's personalized, it's straight to the point. So I think that's the point here. So these are a few courses. Let me just show you an example here. Oh wait, let me see. I can sign in with my account. Okay. This one is on machine learning and also healthcare. So because I'm the teacher of this one, I have this student on. But basically, what you can do with this course is, we have about 1 to 5, we have 10 lessons. We call it micro lessons. Okay. So let's say if you just listen to 2 lessons, select the lessons here, you can get a digital badge here. Biomedical Life Science Systems. If you listen to just 3 here, selected here, you can get this badge. Okay. And if you need to get this badge, then you need to take all these 5 with some other 5. Sorry, let me explain that again. It doesn't mean that if you just take these 2, then you get this badge. No. It's just if you need to get this badge here, Biomedical Life Science, these are the 2 courses, 2 lessons that you need to take to contribute to your digital badge here. Same thing, and the analog system processing, neurosystem applications. Okay, and micro lessons are meant to be finished in just 10 minutes or so. So in here, we probably have just video, interactive video with H5P. We want them to get involved, talk with other person, to talk with other learners, reflect. There's some questions in here just to check your understanding, and then some papers also for learners to dig further, okay? And then just rating, stuff like that. So every lesson is like this. We use what we call wired. Watch, involve, I, reflect, and dig further, wired. So that's our basically framework lah. How, if we get something, if we get content, how do we make it a nice biteable size, chunk size for micro learning? So this is what we have so far. This is what we've developed with IEEE. Okay, so let me see if I can go back to here again. So, oh yeah, can I stop and probably ask you a question? We only have how many people here? 6? That's okay. All right. So before we go to the brainstorm session afterwards, I just want to point out common seen weaknesses in planning online courses. Okay. Because I'm in the jawatan kuasa for checking the quality control for MOOC lah. So basically we have like a rubric, we check everything, the quality of the MOOC itself. But there are some parts that is not on the rubric but need to be assessed as well. So one weakness in MOOC, yeah, that I've seen so far usually is one, no proper credentialing. If you complete that course, students don't know what's next. Okay, I've completed this course. What do I get? Do I just get like a PDF certificate? Is that it? If that is it, and then I cannot really use that certificate for applying for jobs, for example, for applying for points, whatever, then it's useless. Okay, so it needs, the credentialing needs to carry a big weight, and then the MOOC will be seen as really valuable. If not, then nothing much lah. Okay, and then the course itself sometimes is too lengthy. Like one mistake we did is trying to make a math course for 14 weeks. No one is going to attend that kind of course, especially online. It's too lengthy, it's not, it's just too much work. And then the content, the content of the subject is also very dense and very technical. So we were thinking, we came up with some numbers. We say, okay, MOOC course probably minimum maybe 2 weeks, but maximum will be around 12 weeks or so. So 3 months, that's the maximum you can go. But if you're going for micro degree, nano degree, like we've seen just now, for example, professional certificate, of course, it's going to be longer. But if you're talking about a MOOC course to provide short kind of mini credential, micro credential, it's okay to make it between 4 weeks to 12 weeks. Okay. A machine learning course in Coursera, I think it takes about 12 weeks to complete. So that's good. But imagine, remember what's important is the effort per week. Okay. And then the next one is there was no online adaptation. Usually selalunya MOOC course ni bila dicadangkan pada kita, it's just note from classroom biasa tu, just masuk letak dalam online platform. So there's a big problem when the design and instruction is not suitable for online. From classroom to online. So this is really important actually, in terms of pedagogy lah, in terms of design, instructional design and everything. So usually lecturer can just ambil apa-apa course letak je, and then that's it. So it might work for some people, but surely it's not. It doesn't work for most people lah. So you have to think about how to adapt your course online. Kena tengok MCQ, for example, multiple choice questions. use forums. So I would refer to yang berkenaan lah, online adoption, how to deliver course online. Okay. Satu lagi ialah relevance. Kebanyakan yang kursus dia offer sebab dia rasa, oh, that's our specialty, that's my department specialty, that's my specialty. So I want to have a course of my own that showcase my specialty. Whether it's relevant to industry or the community, dia tak mikir, dia tunjuk je. So usually this course will maybe nampak cantik, tapi tak ada take up, tak ada orang nak ambil course ni. Sebab mungkin contohnya, kalau saya nak pergi kursus dalam how to launch a space balloon. Well, I like it because I've done some work on it. I've done analysis. I just want to show people I've done with the community and stuff. I want to make a MOOC course of this one. It's great. I have the content, but who actually wants to know? How many people wants to know? Not who. How many people wants to know about making space balloon? 1 or 2 each year, each month. Okay, and then we need to have specific target. Okay. Focus on demand. So look at in demand course, like programming, for example. Itu mesti banyak in demand. So look for what's the problem out there, how can we solve it? Not just to showcase our specialty or whatever. Okay. Specific target, we need to actually have some kind of target. What do you want to target? Pre-U university or postgrad or current student even? But current student is not a good target sebab dia orang sibuk benda lain. Worker, for example, in the community, we have to have a target so that we can direct our business marketing there. If we just put it out there and expect people to find it, it's not going to work. We have to have some kind of demographics. Okay. Technology has to be used, especially collecting data, especially automated marking, for example. That's why I mentioned MCQ just now. We need to actually utilize this, because if not, it will be too much work for us. So you can think of this, technology must be used. It can't be just traditional talking to screen like this and then call it online course. Okay. And then another problem is found in a paper I read is redundancy, because there's a similar course offered offline, and then the similar course is offered online. So similar courses available. In one university, the same university. So ini problem juga lah in terms of teaching load, in terms of getting credit. Can I get credit for teaching credit for online? If there's a offline course, student will just go to the offline course, not online. Maybe they take it once in a while. So redundancy is, you should try to offer something that is different from what is offered offline. And some courses are not competency based. Some courses probably it looks like well, it's not. I wouldn't give an example lah. It's not competency based lah. Competency based will have more take up, yeah. And then another one is we don't have a business model, how to actually market, our target. Okay. Where's our revenue going to come from? What's our expected income? Who's going to take it? Some stuff like that. So if you're talking about micro learning, micro credentials, the focus, I would say, sadly, is more on money generating, how to create a business out of micro credentials, how to stay on top of the game, rather than education in itself. Because what we are doing, we are teaching skills for work, but education is not just everything for work, if you can understand me. Education, university education, school education is not just about, to prepare you for work. It's to prepare you to become a good citizen of the country, and you can help the community. That's education. But micro-credentials is more on creating skills for workplace. And this is where I think where money come from. Although there's an exception to what I've just said. Also, you see just now there's an example of a course how to live well, how about well-being. So those kind of course also have some traction. I would say it's still popular. Although I would suggest that let's take a look at courses which are which are demanded by industries, for example, so that we can get people to commit time, money, and effort for our course. So let's take a look at this. Think about these 9 things before we try to do micro-credentials. Okay. I wanted to do some kind of SWOT analysis, but with everyone here, notify our strengths, our weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, but I think it's too complicated if you want to do it now, and then also we don't have many people. But let's do some, I think, brainstorm. I would say this is more interesting. Although this you can do with another workshop with Dr. Fairuz maybe. Okay, think about UTAM's strength in offering micro-credential. What is your strength? I can think of one right now. I think because you are dealing with technology maklumat, science, SKTM. I think you have a lot of most of the highlighted courses, just popular courses just now related to your department, which is good. Weaknesses. What are your weaknesses? Opportunities. Where can we actually try to be anything externally can be advantageous to us, and threats, for example, we need to talk about this also. Maybe that one is for face-to-face workshop will be better. But let's try to spend this few minutes before we end. Let's think about what course would you offer as part of a micro-credential program for UTAM. Can just throw ideas. This is a brainstorm. This is not like you need to really analyze it. Just brainstorm, and then maybe we can think about it later on. So let's think of a course names. Just throw it out there. Course name, what you want to do. Our credentials at the end of that course. What do they want to give? What do we want to give them? The learners. Certification, credit transfer, digital badge, another degree. Target. Who are we actually targeting? And estimated course length. Just throw ideas here. There's no critics or whatever. You can just try to do this. Okay. Let's try to do this. All right. So, oh yeah, we have quite a number also. So let me share that one before. If you want to ask any questions or anything also, or bring up a point that I might have missed, or share your experience as well, it's okay. We can do that now. I think we'll end at 4:30. So yeah, this will be my last slides lah. So I don't have anything after this, but just as a closure, let's think of a course name that UTAM would offer as part of your micro-credential program, and maybe we can start working on it later on, or maybe someone wants to give an idea what should be done, and yeah, basically, and we just list out ideas here.
Saya ada beberapa soalan je, Doktor.
Boleh.
Okay, soalan pertama ialah tentang accredited body tadi tu. So far yang micro-credential ni dah ada dokumen under MQA lah.
Betul.
But macam UTAM ni pun it's under technical university, which is most of the course is engineering aside from MTMK lah. Because so EM dengan ESC ni is very tight on this online courses or this thing. So macam mana UPM approach to get to buy in this ESC or some accredited body yang engineering ni? Macam mana?
Okay. Terima kasih soalan tu memang kita fikir juga sebab apa. EAC ni dia memang ketat lah especially dia nak tengok kita punya learning outcomes, program outcomes, dan then setengah program tu macam mechanical dia kena ada subjek-subjek tertentu. Kalau tak ada subjek ni dia bukan mechanical contohnya. And then EAC juga ada senaraikan bukan kursus tapi contoh-contoh kursus tentu macam IDP, Integrated Design Project, Final Year Project kena ada, latihan industri kena ada, Open-ended Laboratory kena ada. Contoh apa yang lagi, saya rasa work with industry itu kena ada. And then this saya ceritakan kenapa EAC memang in nature kenapa dia agak rigid. And then dia ada contoh kalau macam program kami 135 jam kredit. 100, saya rasa 100 ke 90, saya tak ingat. Saya rasa 90 of this credit must be on engineering course. Okay. So itu adalah apa yang dalam EAC manual as of 2020. What we can work on is this. Micro-credential boleh jadi value add kepada existing curriculum. Kalau kita tak berani nak, sebenarnya boleh, tapi katalah macam kita agak-agak lagi sekarang ni, kita boleh value add kepada kursus yang sedia ada. Contoh saya beri contoh lah yang on top of my head. Ada satu kursus untuk guna R for statistic. Sebab kursus R kami dalam kurikulum aerospace engineering dia ajar basics of statistics and probability. So banyak konten dari situ tak sempat kita nak betul-betul ajar R as for students. So kita plan untuk buat a small course or I would say a micro course yang kita boleh bagi credential yang mengajar R for statistics. Tapi student kena ambil yang ni di luar, bukan kena, satu contoh
elective.
Dia lebih banyak elective betul. Tapi elective pun kalau ikut UPM, kalau universiti, elective kena senaraikan betul-betul. So itu pun boleh juga. So ini dia luar daripada apa yang ada dalam kurikulum. Itu satu contoh value add. Ada model satu lagi tadi tu, macam itulah, elective ataupun kursus wajib, kursus teras yang ada tu, tapi kita nak deliver secara online pun boleh. Tapi nilai micro-credential tu kat mana? Kenapa kita nak bagi micro-credential untuk satu kursus contohnya? Contohlah satu kursus saya aerodynamics. Saya boleh offer secara online sepenuhnya, saya cukup expertise untuk buat course ni semua. Tapi kenapa saya nak bagi satu kursus saja, satu micro-credential untuk kursus ni saja? So we have to think about what kind of course yang boleh benefit dapat micro-credential ni. Satu contoh ialah saya tak tahu fakulti ni ada FTKM ada kursus ni tak, Computer Aided Engineering Drawing, CAD design. Tak ada kot? Tak ada kami ada engineer mesti ada guna certain software untuk ni. So ini kalau ini adalah salah satu kursus teras dalam kurikulum. Okay. Dan dia bukan IDP, dia bukan FYP, dia bukan open-ended learning apa semua, so kita tak kacau tu. Dan dia juga bukan salah satu kursus yang susah nak kacau lah kira dalam engineering ni. So yang ni boleh di micro-credentialkan. Maksudnya student spend satu semester, by the end of the semester dia dah complete 4 jam out of the 135 total credit, dan juga dia dapat satu credential badge contohnya yang dia kata he is a master in using SolidWorks for computer engineering drawing. So they can use that to for after graduation lah, dia ada badge tu juga.
Value added.
Itu value added lah.
Okay.
So lagi senang kita try usik untuk value added ni. Untuk core courses saya nasihatkan janganlah kot. Core courses macam IDP contoh, open-ended learning. Sebab kalau kita takut banyak sangat, saya tak tahu EAC cakap macam mana kan, sebab kadang-kadang EAC ni pendapat dia banyak juga dia punya tu. Siapa ada apprentice ni, minta maaf. Tapi sebab saya dah lalui dua kali dengan EAC 2015 dan tahun ni kena sekali lagi. So macam-macam lah, memang berpeluh lah.
Okey,
Kerja lain lah.
Okay, ada 2 soalan lagi Doktor.
Boleh.
Okey, soalan yang kedua ialah UPM kan, tak tahu. Doktor UPM kan? UPM tadi platform tu yang apa ni, yang komersial lah, Coursera, EDX semua tu. Tapi UPM sendiri tu on micro-credential dia guna platform apa? Satu tu satu
Kami guna yang ada Moodle ni lah.
Oh, guna Moodle lah ya?
Kami guna yang apa yang offer by Moodle. So we use that kind of platform lah untuk susun apa semua tu. Cuma kita namakan dia UPM MOOC.
Alright. Ada soalan akhir saya ialah tadi doktor bagi size tu berdasarkan kepada based on analysis standard yang 450 universiti ke betul.
Yes.
Tapi price, in term of price tu, jadi adakah institusi tu sendiri tentukan ke harga ni letakkan on each micro-credential tu ke macam mana?
Yang tu Coursera dengan contoh kalau dia biasanya Coursera EDX ni dia work with universities ataupun industries lah. Contoh saya kalau khusus untuk micro masters, university yang tentukan harga dia. Jadi tentu harga dia, dan I think Coursera pun ambil a bit itulah, so a bit of a proportion of that harga tu. Contoh kalau macam Microsoft dengan IBM ke, itu ditentukan oleh industri juga. Maksudnya IBM, they say okay, this certificate is such and such price. Tapi Coursera pun akan ambil certain ni jugalah. The reason saya bagi itu supaya kita boleh agak-agak kalau kita nak offer the same cost, how much, what was the upper bound yang kita boleh guna, sebab tak nak kita murah sangat kan. Tak ada banyak. Itu. So I don't have enough information to give exactly what price should we offer our course, but I can give some kind of benchmark lah. So basically apa yang tadi kita buat tu, kita tengok benchmark lah. Cuma Malaysia saya tak dapat lagi benchmark untuk harga kat Malaysia ni sebab tak cukup information. Itulah. Tapi kalau ada yang dah pernah buat, why not kan, kita tengok jugalah. Ada satu contoh UPM, kita ada khusus broiler management. Broiler management ni rupanya saya baru tahu, jaga ayam jaga reban ayam, bukan reban kecil tu yang kalau kita ada besarnya perusahaan ayam. Dia ada khusus, memang cantik, memang dia susun cantik, dia punya assessment, content pun lawa semua. Saya memang minat lah. Dia offer tu untuk yang industri yang nak get into this chicken business lah. Chicken or duck. Dia offer khusus RM3,000 untuk khusus tu. And then because I was in the QC quality control panel, tanyalah, ada ke take up untuk RM3,000 ni? Kata no, this is standard, 3 to 5,000. So if I'm not in the industry, so I don't know. I would say that, mahal lah. Takkan RM3,000, RM5,000 kita nak cerita pasal apa dekat pengusaha ayam ke contohnya kan. I don't think they will spend that kind of money untuk ambil course ni. Tapi dia kata, well, itu the standard dan memang kan ada intake. So okay lah. Kalau dia orang yakin boleh dapat tu, alright lah. So tu kadang kita tak tahu kan, we are not in the business, we just looking from outside, kita ingat alah mana ada orang nak ambil. Tapi punya memang itulah, broiler management. I think about 3,000 something like that. Tapi dia buat khusus memang cantik lah, sesuai dengan apa contoh pengusaha ayam contohnya, industri ke. Nice. So yang price tu kena.
Dok, saya nak tanya beberapa soalan boleh?
Boleh. Kalau saya boleh jawab.
Okay, macam contoh yang Dok bagi tadi, yang IEEE punya micro learning tu, tu adalah add-on saja kan?
Add-on je, betul.
Tapi macam kami di KFTMK ni, kami cadangannya adalah nak offer certain subjects as micro-credential. Dan it's ni lah boleh credited lah maksudnya.
Yelah, proper lah.
Di UPM ada tak yang dah start buat macam tu?
Kita sama kita baru nak bergerak-gerak, kita nak tengok how to actually move to micro-credentialing. Tapi kita dah ada very good foundation on MOOC lah. So in terms of trying to deliver online courses tu, maybe we have a standard already. Tapi on itulah yang digital credentialing, macam mana kita nak dapatkan give credits untuk kalau complete this course and make the credit that micro-credential valuable lah untuk student. Itu pun kita masih nak try to work together lah in university. And then I think kalau the farthest right now yang I think yang bergerak, I think USM lah kot. Even USM pun saya tak dengar lagi, mungkin dah ada, mungkin saya tak dengar on nano degrees ke micro-credential yang macam tu lah. But I would say right now we are still in trying not jump in the bandwagon lah, trying to learn, see things around, how we can do this and that. But at the moment kita pun macam saya rasa sama kot macam UTM juga. Kita dah ada plan for, kita dah ada basic standard for MOOC, online courses, tapi kita move on digital credentialing ni. Ini itu yang saya nak try hantar artikel tu, digital credentialing tu.
Okey Dok, sebab itulah macam saya cakap tadi, kita sebenarnya nak, kalau boleh nak micro-credentialkan beberapa subjek lah, dan kita dah identify certain subjek yang telah di-MOOC-kan. So we start off with the MOOC subjects lah kan, sebab MOOC subjects tu memang dah online content pun dah macam tu kan.
Betul.
But itulah nak start, adakah Dok rasa lebih sesuai kita start dengan yang program yang add-on tu, ataupun kita nak start dengan yang program akademik yang kita boleh kreditkan?
Apa contoh yang kursus yang dah ada
Contoh macam introduction to database ke.
Saya rasa itu dah boleh jadi ni dah. Okay, ini pandangan personal sebab sebab dekat di tempat kami di UPM pun we don't have any solid, I would say solid direction what to do apa semua lah, di tengah dalam perbincangan juga. Kenapa kita start dengan MOOC? Because kita nak get used to online delivery, macam nak access apa semua. So if you have that, that's good. That's one big part done. Tapi bila kita nak try micro-credential, kita kena tengok demographics lah. Macam saya kata tadi, target kita siapa. Kalau target kita student university juga, take up mungkin tak ramai. Sebab they can always learn that from other universities. So target maybe ke tengok either postgrad ataupun pre-U dan juga public. Contoh untuk database, macam contoh yang saya bagi tadi lah, introduction to Python. Make that content available for public so that by the end of the, kata dia dapat batch tu, dia boleh transfer credit di UTM ke, ataupun dia boleh guna sebagai for work in industry ke. Ini maybe kena ada work with industry lah on determining how deep you need to go into programming to actually to be able to work in industry. So ini lah. Tapi untuk micro-credential, I would say look at the target demographic kita, besarkan lagi. Sebab ikut pengalaman kami try untuk student yang dah stay ada, susah sikit lah. Walaupun MOOC yang berjaya ialah MOOC macam TITAS kan. Apa satu lagi kebudayaan ke apa lagi. Tapi itu MOOC berjaya lah sebab banyak orang ambil UPM pun dah banyak student ambil itu. So itu nampak berjaya sebab banyak intake. Tapi I would say for micro-credentials, let's try target bigger demographics. If you need more, try target one or tengok 1-2 dululah yang mana boleh go, and then you go for the experimental ones. 1-2 yang macam saya kata tadi untuk database, kalau yakin boleh dapat ada demand from industry, go for that one. Make that one success dulu and then get another one. I would say that would be my strategy. Tapi kalau ada strategi dari UTM lagi bagus, I would say go for that one lah. So point saya itulah.
Saya rasa pun saya setuju dengan Dok juga lah, sebab saya rasa kalau dapat tie in dengan certain industry tu lagi baik kan, sebab ada certain industry tu dia ada APL dia juga kan.
Sebab kita dah tentukan berapa how deep, adakah setakat untuk bachelor level je dah cukup untuk kerja industri. So maybe lain, maybe bachelor level terlalu dalam contohnya. That one boleh work in industry. Cuma yang jangan buat ialah kita open. Okay, siapa nak buat micro-credential, siapa nak offer any course, Awak nak offer? Kalau kita try buat. Awak nak buat, kita try buat. Sebab proses dia panjang dan memenatkan. Banyak orang awal-awal je commit, lepas tu dah nampak letih nak kena produce banyak sangat, dia jadi layu dah setengah-tengah tu. So jangan buat macam tu. Decide on the reach a consensus. Okay, let's try to develop this 1 or 2 or 3 courses first. Work with industry, make sure this can get revenue from this, make sure it's in demand, industry demand, and work on that one. Bila dah selesa tu, then we can go for the other courses yang sedia ada ke contohnya. Sebab saya rasa lah
sorry, go on you.
Oh tak ada, sebab saya rasa kenapa selalunya orang fikir nak ambil kursus sedia ada buatkan micro-credential sebab senang kan. Sebab konten dah ada, itu dah ada, lecturer dah ada, kita buat yang tu lah. Selalunya macam tu cara fikir, tapi
itu berkaitan juga dengan soalan saya yang seterusnya lah. Sebab yalah, bila macam Dok cakap, bila nak buat micro-credential, nak buat MOOC ni, kita perlu yalah macam-macam lah kan, expertise dalam pembangunan lah kan, pembangunan online content kan. So di UPM sendiri, so kalau macam lecturer tu dia berminat untuk nak bangunkan MOOC ataupun micro-credential, adakah dia disediakan dengan instructional designers ke, UI expert ke, semua?
Ada, betul.
So maksudnya adakah content tu dia kena buat ke, ataupun dia bagi idea for the developer tu buat ke, macam mana?
Yang kami ada content biasanya datang dari pensyarah, tapi dari segi design nak mencantikkan benda tu dalam online, dalam Moodle apa contoh kan, nak bagi lawa keluar video macam mana, kita memang ada satu team dalam CADE lah, dalam Center of Academic Development, kita orang tu memang they work on this, how to produce the videos, kita ada green screen apa semua, and then macam nak susun content nak kasi nampak senang kan. Biasa online design ni kalau tak betul buat, orang pun menyampah tengok kita punya website kan. So kita ada part tu. So lecturer akan datang dengan content saja, dan dia akan discuss lah macam mana kita nak susun apa semua, and then they will go through the QC process beberapa kali lah. Macam tu. Tapi masa awal dulu dia macam open tau, siapa nak buat, nak buat, ada tak cadangan apa-apa. So dia open je, orang tak ada fokus tau, they just ambil apa yang dah ada dalam konten kelas tu, nak try to move online, and then bila in the process they realize that it's not that easy. It's not just a matter of uploading your slides on the website lepas tu to an online course. It's not as simple as that, ada banyak je lah. But we work with our CADE lah, our Center of Academic Development, on how to deliver this content. Ada rubrik dia, and then berapa panjang, semua target semua ada lah.
Kalau untuk MC tu, adakah ia perlu online mode?
Okay, good question. MC can be 3 modes. Satu online atau gabung. Tadi saya ada slide itu kot. Boleh gabung juga. Ataupun fully offline pun boleh juga sebenarnya. So it doesn't really have any ni lah. It's just it needs to be a micro lah, short time. Kalau buat fully offline, kita kena fikir lecturer punya loading, teaching loading. Can they actually do this concurrently with the existing course dekat universiti ke? Ada satu idea dulu macam ni, you take everything online, courses, formative assessment, content, lecture, semua online, but at the end when you want to get the certificate, you have to come to the university to take a written test yang depan for assessment lah.
Tapi itu dah macam MOOC dah.
Dah macam MOOC lah. Itu dia one idea macam tu lah. So that satu, sebab kadang-kadang kita tak biasa sangat dengan online exam. So kita nak buat macam tu. That's one way of doing it. Coursera is also doing the same. You can access the content, the training and for free. The whole 12 weeks. But if you want to get the certificate, then you need to pay.
Macam free to learn, pay for cert macam tu.
Yep. Tapi dia orang punya business model pandai jugalah. Dia lepas kita habis satu tu, dia tunjuk, okay, ini tak cukup ni sebenarnya, kena ambil satu lagi. Contoh yang Microsoft punya tu, bijak tu dia orang buat business. Dia bagi-bagikan tu supaya...
Tapi macam saya pernah dengar juga Prof Karim punya idea, dia di USM tu, dia macam mana dia kata sebab mock free kan, dia pecahkan pada the whole course ke apa tu, dia pecah pada few set. Yang pertama tu dia bagi free macam teaser saja.
Yelah.
Nak ambil yang seterusnya tu, you have to register for micro-credential part.
Yelah tu.
Macam tu lah the style. Tapi
betul.
you time tak decide lagi.
Maybe. I think yang tu memang kena duduk actually to discuss yang ni lah. Betul lah macam kata itu yang buat waktu. What kind of business model you want to, kan business canvas kan, tengok revenue mana boleh datang. But just to not throw people off, saya rasa kena offer some part of the course free lah. Macam nak buat style Coursera pun boleh, free to learn, tapi nak dapat certificate kena bayar. Tapi konten khusus kena kuat lah, maksudnya ini memang mantap ni, kalau kau boleh dapat di YouTube Bash ni memang boleh industry recognize lah, contohnya macam tu. Ataupun bagi-bagi kan, macam tadi tu, macam idea Microsoft pun buat macam tu. Prof Karim pun ada idea macam tu juga.
Okay, kita dah dalam part setengah ni. Apa ni part setengah. So any other final questions from the floor? Ada soalan lain daripada peserta? Ada 30 orang ni.
Oh 30 saya ingat. Kita tak sempat buat ni tak nak reveal secret ke. Tapi saya rasa fakulti ni memang ni lah, ada banyak seperti yang saya rasa memang diperlukan lah untuk industri sekarang ni. Especially kalau kita tengok yang ni tadi kan, saya rasa banyak kena-mena kot dengan fakulti, betul tak? Ke macam mana? Macam ni lah kan?
Banyak tu.
Banyak tu. So even data using Excel pun ramai orang nak. So
rasanya tak ada dan kita pun dah hampir tamat masa Okay, jadi so before we end, I would like to say a big thank you to Dr. Ahmad Salahuddin for his very thorough and insightful talk on MC. Hopefully all of us have benefited from his sharing session today and are eager to produce our own MC in the near future. Okay, so reminder to all attendees, please fill in the attendance for CPD claims purposes. Okay, so with that, I end the session with Tasbih Kifarah and Surah As. Okay, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih, Doktor.
Terima kasih semua. Okay.
Terima kasih.
Saya minta maaf kalau ada kekurangan atau terlebih-lebih ke ni. Yang baiknya semua tanya Allah, yang kurang-kurangnya, yang lebih-lebih itu semua tanya saya. Okay.
InsyaAllah. Terima kasih. Terima kasih, Dok.